the message that we're talking about today, of course, is abundance. And I like what DW said because I didn't really understand it to where he talked until he explained the hole in his head. And then that made a lot of sense to me because now I see where he's coming from. So I'm going to try and fill that hole in with some information that I think you'll find quite surprising.
What? All right, I hear you.
Okay, thanks for paying attention. So anyway, hydrogen has been quite a phenomenon. With us, we've had the water machines, and as you know, we've been working on the sizzle, the H2 STIX, S-T-I-X, excuse me, it's in caps. So it's the H2 and then STIX, and that's the name of the product. Now, we call it stick because it's in a stick shape form. You can tear the end off, dump it into a bottle, mix it up a little. We're going to sell it for $29.95 distributor price, which is really incredible. So if that kind of price is at $1 a day to have 1 or 2 drinks of hydrogen, because the sachet, you can dump it into a regular bottle, 16-ounce bottle, and with that, or 500 ml, either one, same size, and with that, you can have extremely high levels now of hydrogen. Now, 0.5 ppm, parts per million, to 1.0 ppm is considered very healthy. We think we're going to take you, on our initial test, we got to 15 ppm, and now I think we're going to do it to 18 or more. So when you think about that, that's 30 or 40 times more than what hydrogen levels are that are healthy for you. So what is this going to be? Super healthy. And so this product is one that you can take, and it has some really unique properties in it. But what we're going to do with the product is selling it for $29.95. We're going to let that run for, I don't know how long, maybe 6 months, perhaps a little longer. It all depends. Then we're going to have a price increase. It will be a reasonable one, not a huge one, but we'll have to. But the reason I'm pricing it right now at $29.95 is this is the one you've been waiting for. This is the meteorite that's come from out of nowhere, the hydrogen meteorite that is going to blow up your business, because this one has got so much excitement with people. A lot of you have seen it already in the demonstrations. And when you can take it yourself and you can sit there with a potential distributor or customer and you just simply take the sachet and dump it into the bottle of water and then just watch the reactions taking place within it, and up it comes, and you see big things streaming and coming out of it, because there's many types of reactions going on within it to give you the ultimate level of hydrogen, H2. But the byproduct of this is oxygen is very good for you. And if you're oxygen deficient, you actually, if you gave oxygen and water, it's absorbed better than breathing oxygen in to get to all your parts of your body. So you can oxygenate your body better with oxygenated water. But now most oxygenated waters are really low concentration, and so there's a reason that they're advocated, and certainly has some merit. But the levels are so low, it's just not going to give you what you truly want. So with the water within the bottle or a glass, if you want to have just a drink glass, 8-10 ounce, something like that, you can tear the sachet in half, dump it into it, and then seal it over. And the other half will seal. And so that'll do it. That'll probably give 15 to 18 ppm right there in a glass. Now, because there's no top on it, hydrogen is lighter than air and water, so it starts coming out. But you'll see it go down, and there'll be a little deposit of the product will go to the bottom, and then the reaction will start coming out with it. And if you'll just slightly stir it every minute or two, with just a couple of strokes, just to make sure all the fresh material is coming up, you're going to have an enormous amount of hydrogen water in the drink that you do. So in the bottle, you should fill it up to the top so there's no headspace. in it. And so if you want to top it off with a little water, it's even better. If you don't, it's okay, but hydrogen does go up the head space, and what we're trying to do is give you diatomic hydrogen water, which is powerful at the cellular level within your body, not just at it, in the cellular level of your body. So when you take and put it in a bottle, what is the reactions taking place the same as in the glass, but you'll see something very different happening. First of all, let me warn you, don't put it in a glass bottle, because what it's going to do is these reactions from the H2 STIX start to take place. You're going to see the bottle, if it's one of these flimsy, cheap bottles, it's going to become very firm and solid, and do it in quite a short period of time. From then, it will continue to expand out. You can even hear some of them that crack and crackle a little bit as the plastic is really stretched out. And why it's stretching out is the water's the same, but the material we put in it breaks the bond between the water molecule, and which is composed of 2 hydrogens and 1 oxygen. So if we break the bond between hydrogen, we got H2, which is stable. We have O1, because that's what oxygen or water is. So H2O. O1 is very unstable. But if we're doing enough water, O1 is going to want to pair. It has very corrosive power if it didn't, but it just will pair with another oxygen, and that becomes O2. O2 is what you breathe when it comes in. So now what we have is we have a solid liquid made out of H2O that we separate apart into H2 and into O2 in huge amounts of volume that's there. And as it does, these are gases intermixed within the liquid, so they require more space, and they start expanding the bottle out because you're creating all this, and the pressure is coming up, because a gas will take probably 3 or 4 times the space to handle it that you do with the liquid material. So that's why you're not going to have a bottle that's go 3 or 4 times bigger, but it's going to get very big on you firm. And so that's why you don't put it in glass, because glass could break. But put it in plastic or some sort of a container with hard plastic, or the best is aluminum with coated aluminum. That's the very best, because that's the best thing for retarding cancer transfer or passage from it. But still, the way it is, if you put it in a bottle, as I said, I like to let mine sit for about 15 minutes because that maximizes it. And when you have it in the bottle, you can shake it back and forth. And it doesn't matter because you have no headspace, so you're not losing hydrogen out the top, and you just keep mixing it in. And so it's not like stirring it in a glass where it's open to the atmosphere. Within a bottle, it's not open to the atmosphere. So you can shake it up, set it down, wait a minute or 2, shake it up, set it down, and keep doing it. So now when this has happened, now you have in the bottle huge amounts of oxygen. It's super oxygenated. It doesn't matter because you have no headspace. And to a limit that has never been seen before, I believe. And water doesn't have the capacity to do this, but splitting water, it seems, does. So you have copious amounts of superoxygenated water and really abundant high levels of hydrogen water. That, too, is the combination that you really need, because oxygen is used for energy and all kinds of metabolism. Hydrogen is the most powerful, really, atom or molecule in the universe. It's also the smallest. And because it's the smallest, it can't be contained. Over 70% or maybe 80% of the universe itself was built by hydrogen. So hydrogen is so key. And, in fact, as many minerals are just so many hydrogen neutrons coming together make gold, as an example, that type of thing. So it has enormous amount of power to do it, but this goes all the way back to where the very creation of the life here on Earth from the sun, which radiates hydrogen. And so the sun is a ball of hydrogen, and it goes hydrogen, then it discharges, goes back to helium immediately, and then immediately back to hydrogen, which discharges, and that's what sunlight is. So it's this. So as the solar rays come down, there's different wavelengths of light and things like this, but the key ingredient in it is hydrogen. And when that hydrogen hits a plant, it splits it off with chlorophyll, and it changes it from now a gas or solar into a chemical formulation that incorporates the hydrogen, and it makes up many different components, many different things of that nature. But the reality is, it's got so much power with it that you'll have some unusual things starting to happen as this builds up within your body. It's going to leave, but it goes everywhere. And since it's so small, not even lead can contain it. So it will get out of lead, and it'll take longer than something else, but it'll get out of it. And it'll do it through your body too. But the one thing that's very powerful is it's classified as a macronutrient. And that macronutrient goes into the cell, and there are so many biological processes going on that hydrogen just embellishes and expands and really supports with massive intensity in so many different areas. And if you haven't looked on the Facebook site and seen some of the things I posted, you ought to do. There's 27 surprising hydrogen water health benefits, and I list what every one of those are. And when you look at it, you think, what does it not do? And so that's a good point, because these aren't studies. These aren't flim-flam studies. These are peer-reviewed double-blind tests, which are there. And so there's a lot of benefit in your body, but it's also probably the strongest of all the antioxidants, and it can neutralize radiation and things of that nature. We're not going to sell it for doing that, of course. We can't make those claims on it, but you can see the science, and we'll have a science page with all these studies, so you can read it for yourself. But the Food and Drug Administration does not allow us to make the claims of the ingredients when they're collectively put into a formulation. It's kind of a big pharma thing to restrict nutritional products, in my opinion. But nonetheless, that's the way the law is, and we have to comply with it. So we're going to tell you what the benefits are, and you can look at some of the benefits and the features, and you think, this is what I want. I mean, if hydrogen, let's just surmise for a minute, hypothesize, that hydrogen has a profound effect as an antioxidant, where do you need that? Throughout your entire body and in every single cell. So would you want it for the brain? What about mood disorders or inflammation? Or how about muscle fatigue, weakness, metabolic syndrome, supporting weight loss? Those are just some of the diabetes. This hydrogen for diabetes. Now we're going to not saying cure, just does it. And a couple of them I don't dare say, but they're so powerful you can read them. And skin health, enhanced wound healing. It's for the bladder, the heart, the eyes, hearing loss, allergies, kidneys, liver, and it just goes on and on and on, including some things that it does even within your mouth itself, within the oral cavity of it. So you have this immense amount of power, and as you look at it, if you print that off, you'll learn a lot from it. You can highlight the things that you want on it, because it tells all those 27 things and what each one is more in detail. You don't need to explain all that to a potential distributor or customer. They really want to know the benefits, not the features. And so you can take them back to the sun. There'd be no life on Earth if it wasn't for sunlight. Sunlight's power is in hydrogen. So it's converted from solar energy to chemical energy, passes around through your body. And as it gets into the cells, then that chemical energy is used for making parts and stuff like that. But the hydrogen and some of that chemical energy makes NAD. And NAD is what they call the immortality molecule. At least that's what they call it from Harvard Medical School. And because it does so much really powerful support for youth and anti-aging and age reversal and all of those types of things. So within that, when it goes to NAD, then it gets converted in another form with reactions taking place, and it goes on and goes to ATP. And a lot of people know ATP, and they say take coenzyme Q10 because it helps it, but not like our supplement does in the H pill for it. And then hydrogen can come in, and the NAD is listed as NAD+. That plus is hydrogen. So when it gets converted, that stands for it. So when it gets converted into ATP, then it releases what they now call biological hydrogen, which the body through processes then converts into electrical energy, or reaching homeostasis of the cell. And that is about as perfect as a cell can be, as homeostasis means. So that's the potential of this product. It's huge. You'll feel the difference. And if you take it every day for a week, you'll not want to be without it forever. You don't get addicted on it. You just know you want to have that wonderful feeling and energy and strength and everything coming from it. So here, you want to, you've seen those advertisements where they're talking about a juice, and some as the advertisement, oh, you could have had a V8. Well, V8 was so much more than just a juice or just a soda pop or anything like that. Well, this falls within this category. What do you really want? Do you want a drink of water, or do you want a drink of hydrogen-enriched diatomic energy combined with superoxygenation that refurbishes almost every cell in your body, your systems? You feel the energy. The health benefits of it are beyond calculation. They're just starting to learn about this. They didn't know really much about this with hydrogen even 3 years ago. So a lot of these studies are real recent. I'm going to publish a bunch more today, so you got it. So the bottom line with this thing is this is the big one. That's why I wanted to get it out for Christmas, because you get a lot of people you're going to talk to. And you can order it, and the order today, but probably it'll be like Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. We'll ship it because, you know, we get Christmas and New Year, Christmas Eve and Christmas. So on the day after, we'll be shipping. So you should have it by the end of the year, I would think. And the benefits of it, demonstration. Can you imagine being a family party? Let me show you what re-energizes your body and gives you the hydrogen and the power of the sun can be converted back into you. You can contain the power of the sun by drinking diatomic hydrogen water, and then you super oxygenate to support enormous increases in metabolism and feeling and well-being and all of those things. That's a lot. So you need to put it down in a succinct form. You don't want to over-present, but get the points down that you want to talk to a person, write it out, memorize it, learn the word perfect, and then go ahead and start making presentations. But the product does the selling, because as you see it in a bottle and you watch those streams coming up and color developing, and then when you go to drink it, does this taste like hydrogen water? Well, what does hydrogen water taste like? Water's got hydrogen in it itself, but not enough to be meaningful to the body that you drink from a tap or a bottle. But with super amounts of hydrogen water, heavily infused hydrogen water, you can have, you don't get a taste, but there could be some things. But we've handled all of that so that when you taste this, it will be about as nice as any drink that you would ever want. If you're buying yourself a juice drink or something like that, very pleasant to take, but loaded with enormous amount of power, so you can drink it down. Now, when you're done, and when you have a glass or a bottle, you may have a little residue left in it, and that's okay. The best thing for you, the residue is really healthy for you. So my advice to you is just, if there is a little bit, there won't be much if you've done it properly, then just drink it. It goes into your body. And one of the things that is so important is we have 0.999 magnesium. Now that's very rare, very difficult to get, very expensive, but it gives us the best reactions for one of the things that goes on it. But what's left over from the magnesium in preparing the reactions that's converting hydrogen and oxygen out of water is the magnesium is one of the most difficult essential minerals that your body needs. It's extremely difficult to get through the blood-brain barrier and many other things. If you ingest magnesium, you get, milk of magnesium for constipation, because it just can't get through there, and so you can ingest large parts of it. But now with this, you're going to have it to where if you drink it, it goes through, it'll be in the ionic state. Ionic state means it can go anywhere, folks, and your brain needs enormous amounts of magnesium and the neurological system to function. So within the water itself, you'll have dissolved magnesium, and then the particles will convert into ionic, and so it's a health benefit to drain or dry and do it. Now, ladies, this won't work for you, GW, because you have a hole in your head, but this really is a great product to put on your skin. And if you're going to clean your skin, then I would clean it and then dry it. And then I would take some diatomic hydrogen water, which you should be taking anyway, And it's kind of like things go better with Coke. Well, things go better with H2 STIX, and things go better with the H-Bill because they're so enormous and the power that they can give you that's never been available before. So you're going to want to take your supplements and all the different things you're taking with diatomic hydrogen water. And then the potential support for regeneration as you sleep at night or you're going out through the day, if it's in the morning that you're doing it, is phenomenal, and you will feel it. And you'll watch it happen with the bottle itself. And then you'll feel the feelings within your body. But if you put it on your face on dry skin after you've cleaned it, no, not over makeup, it'll penetrate all the way through in the skin. In fact, it'll go through the skin and the blood system. But it goes all the way through the skin. But I cannot legally emphasize how powerful this is for providing hydrogen energy to the skin. It has tremendous power. So, ladies, you should, when you wash your face and go take cosmetics on or off, once you got clean skin, dry it, rub in some hydrogen. Just pour a little bit in your hand. Just rub it in until it's absorbed. And you can do it 2 or 3 times, and you watch what's going to happen to your skin over a period of time, especially with some of these things we're doing with some of the other products. It's really revolutionary. So here is, well, without doubt, the H-Bill is the single greatest discovery in the history of human health. Some scientists are saying years from now, decades from now, centuries from now, this will be looked at as NAD from the H-Bill, will be looked at as the greatest the discovery that ranks with electricity. Well, geez. And we're growing quite a bit with that, but not as fast as I think we should in some areas. But with diatomic hydrogen water, you see it happen now, wham, right in front of you. Take a drink of it, you feel it all day long. It is so immediate. It is so powerful, and the science is so great that it's almost a no-brainer to sell to somebody else. And you say, how much extra do you pay for a Starbucks coffee? My God, you could have had a hydrogen-infused water instead, and it'd been much better. Can you put it in your coffee? You bet. Can you put it in soup? Yeah, you bet. However, it dissipates, when it's with heat, it dissipates faster, but you can put it in all those kinds of things if you want to. But the big thing is putting it on your skin, drinking it, put a drop in your eye, swish it around in your mouth before you swallow it. It'll have some really tremendous benefits there for you with your oral chamber within your mouth. So at $29.95, that's $1 a day for 2 glasses or 1 big bottle. Who could not afford that? And the benefits it'll give you for health are unparalleled. You've never seen anything like this. You've got it, and that's why I'm keeping the price down. Think of it this way. This is like a loss leader in the supermarket or the store. They always put it can be department. They'll put something they're not going to make any money on, and maybe they're even going to lose money on it because it will bring people in, so they buy more of the other things when they're there. So that's the philosophy behind loss leader. That's kind of the philosophy that we're using here. Now you're going to get paid commissions. You get paid commissions on $20 out of the $29.95 sale. So commissions are good, fast start bonuses, all that kind of thing. You can sell large quantities of it and do those things, and then with it, we think at $20.95, it'll create wild momentum. People will be going nuts. So if we left it on for 6 months or perhaps longer with that kind of thing and looked at it as well as profitable, very profitable for distributors, but extremely effective for building the business and creating massive, gigantic growth with the wild momentum that it can create. So that's the plan behind it. I would strongly suggest you do it, get on track, because you're going to have people from all over joining this company, and we're even probably going to, I would think from some things I know, that we may even have a couple of companies that want to bring their organization over, talking with one particular right now, and it looks like another 1 or 2 that might be on board. And here they're going to come in, they're going to be distributors, they'll sign up in the company, but they're signing up, they're coming in from out of nowhere, and so they'll be like competing distributors in another downline, which is exactly what they will be. So the most important thing is who gets there first. The race goes to the swift. And so if you're there first and you got the mostest to work with, what have you got? You've got the world in your hands. This is the big one for you to do it with. So here we're going to sustain this price as sort of a loss leader with extremely high commission. So who's taking the big buy out of this? The company is, of course. But we're doing it because what it can do for you. Now you have the most sensational product. The atom, the molecule that the universe mostly was created, that all sunlight, all life on Earth is absolutely dependent on, and you can enrich your body in no other way possible by eating anything, doing anything, than with this enriched hydrogen, diatomic hydrogen water. And then throw in a bonus of copious amounts of O2. What do you got? You got an A++ product. Now, if I had to pick between the H2 STIX and the H-fill, I'd take the H-fill. But you know what? I would not take the H2 STIX. It's like saying, I'm only going to wear one shoe. It's a nice looking one. I'm going to put on both shoes because you can really run with them. So these two running together are going to take you to areas that are fabulous in what we're doing. So that's the message that I have to you for today. There's a lot more that can be said and talked about it, and you've heard some. You should go back and listen to some of my recorded calls. We are building a science page, which is breathtaking to look at, because within the last 3 years or so ago, hydrogen has gone from not being understood in many ways to now seeing all of the human biological support potential it has on an enormous scale in such a wide variety of ways. And with that happening, of course, you can't advertise. The law about advertising, Congress has this, you can talk about products, but you can't say that the ingredients in it cause this unless you have the product tested to do it. Well, product tested takes about 13 years and about $2 billion. That's the way it's set up now because it's come out as a drug. So if you just simply say it supports the body and this supports for this, supports that, then legally as a distributor, you can also have these copies of the scientific studies. You can say, look, this is what, here, now look what the studies show this ingredient is. Well, we can't make the claim for the product. Here's what is an ingredient in the ingredient and scientific studies. And so DSHEA is the Dietary Supplemental Health Education Act. So you can learn about dietary supplements health and educate yourself on it or educate others on it by showing the studies. It's legal to do. You just can't include the studies within your advertising, but you can within your presentations. So here's the really big one. If this doesn't end the year for you right, this will change change your life forever type product come along. And when you throw that on top of the H-fill and all of the other things that we're having, it's, okay, what is it? There's nothing like it. You alone have got it. And then following this, I'm going to follow up with a couple of other blockbusters. I think the H-fill is A++. I think the H2 STIX is A++. And the TOL is an A product. But I'm going to have a couple of A+ers that come out that are just going to, it's going to flabbergast you when you see what they can do and you'll want to supplement your body with them. I would think almost every person on earth that has any wherewithal at all will want to use some of these on top of H-fill, top of diatomic hydrogen. So in conclusion, let me make this point to you. I hope you have a happy new year. Hope you have a great Christmas. And I hope they sell the ever-living crap out of this stuff, because this is the big one that you waited for. You paid the price. You're here. You're standing there where gold has been discovered, and it's time for you to claim it. And I'll tell you one last little story real quick, because unfortunately when I talk, I get talking too much. But anyway, you got to think of it this way. It keeps DW from being on so much, so that's helpful. But anyway, the California gold rush was the greatest gold rush in the history of the world. And during 1849, it was the California gold rush, and wagons were coming across the country. There was no transportation, no railroad, no nothing, but covered wagons. They had signs made on them, boom or bust. They were going all the way out. They were going to go out and boom and explode with this this gold discovery or bust, go bust doing it. This is a boom or bust time for you, but you're a little bit different than they are coming across the prairies. Because let me tell you the story about the Great California Gold Rush. It was discovered in a place called Sutter's Mill, and they were cutting timber and not doing too well. California was not very developed at that time at all, and mostly it was owned by Mexico, and so until the war. But anyway, with that, it was mostly Mexican citizens, some Americans, but they were coming in since the United States had now got it from Mexico, and they'd been coming in anyway. But they came in, and so a guy named Sutter set up this mill cutting timber because there's a lot of housing and buildings to be built and things like that. And one of his foremen, Jim Marshall, everything was powered by like a water mill that goes through, and you just have this water pressure coming down, hits the paddle like you see on the paddle of a ship. And as that turns, it can be converted into the energy to propel a saw to get wood. That's kind of what they're doing. So he was downstream from where the water was being processed, and he looked standing in the stream, and he was trying to look at it, see if he could get better results coming out of it. And he saw something really bright and shiny down in the stream bottom. And he reached down and picked it up. And he brought it up and he looked at it, and he for himself knew it was gold and a big piece of it. Then he picked up some other pieces around the salt. They were all over. And there at that time, only Jim Marshall on Earth knew about the vast amounts of gold and rewards that were there that triggered the Great California Gold Rush. So what did he do with it? He went back and told his owner, or processing the plant, that what happened is he had some investors because they wanted to expand the lumber business, thing like that. And this guy telegraphed back east, and he said, "You're not going to have to worry about the investors and the money I picked up because we've found gold and lots of it at Sutter's Mill." And what happened? Of course, how many people do you think heard that as it went across the telegraph? It goes through every telegraph station getting there. And so immediately a ripple explosion went out, and this mass exodus headed out to California to really form the state, and all this wealth was built, empires created, all types of lifestyles taken from poor to fabulous, all because of this, because of that discovery that Marshall found. Now, after the California Gold Rush was done, there was some big caverns where they had just tunneled out huge amounts of mountainside to get all the gold in it, and there was no more gold. But these gigantic caverns were going down in the earth, and about 1900 or so, they looked in one of those caverns, and there was a body. And they went down and retrieved the body, and somebody had thrown themselves in the pit to commit suicide, to die. And they brought it out, and it was Jim Marshall. He was the one that did it. And what they found out is he did it because at one time, Jim Marshall alone had the key to the California Gold Rush. He was the first person, but he never filed a claim. He just kept working for Sutter. He never filed a claim. The greatest gold rush in the history of the world happened, and he never filed a claim. And when it was all over, out of anxiety, and I imagine all his emotional things, where he went up and just threw himself in this big pit and died. It went, he discovered it, and he never capitalized on it because he never filed a single claim. Now here you are. You're a distributor. You got claims filed. Man, it's time to dig that gold with this kind of thing. Gold's very limited. Gold's very difficult to get, but hydrogen water is easy to make, and it brings you lots of gold. So look at it that way. So let's have a very happy holiday season, and don't wait. Talk to everybody you can. In the meantime, enjoy yourself with all that. Get the diatomic hydrogen waters, first come, first serve. The price $29.95 for a limited time where you can get it, so you can build your business. If you don't, you could be like a Jim Marshall, as you see it come and gone. You see, I think we'll create hundreds of thousands of millionaires in sizzle. I think that, hundreds of thousands. And with that, vast amounts of prosperity and wealth for millions or tens of millions of people all over the earth. And you've got it right there in your hands right now. All you need to do, that gold will be in your hands when that H2 stick arrives that you order and you get going. Don't buy it just for you. Buy it for what it can do for everybody else and your future. Because this is the really big one, and it's time to get your rear into high gear and work like your life depended on it, because it does. So that's my message for today. I hope I've rambled a little bit, but I hope that gives you an impression of what we have. We have something like it's never been seen before in the history of the earth, the age bill. We have something like it's never been seen before in the history of the earth, the diatomic hydrogen-infused water. Those are spectacular beyond belief. The science, 5 years ago, most of it did not exist with it. Now the science is coming out. Things that they kind of indicated and thought and knew now are reality. That which was fairy tale and science fiction has now been proven true, and it's become real, and it's here for you. And the two greatest ones of all time, you've got them. And guess what? MLM company has these besides us? None. We've got them. Now they'll get some in the meantime, in the time, but do you want to wait? Do you want to go rush to pass you by? Or do you want to get out into that, and it's boom or bust time for you? That's what you should be doing. And I'll tell you what, if this hasn't got you on fire, your wood is wet, because this is the big one of all time. This will be the greatest opportunity, I believe, in most of you people's lives, to really take and make something of it, and to have that kind of thing to where you sit down in a restaurant, you don't have to look at the price and what's the menu. You order what you want. You drive there in a gorgeous car that the company's paid for. Whether you live in a mansion that you've created because of all those things. You take vacations when you want to. You travel to the exotic places on earth. You help your children. You help your family. You do all this kind of thing. That's the possibility of the gold rush that's here with the H2 stick. And you alone have control of your destiny. If it's to be, it's up to me. So do it or don't do it. It's your choice. But for those that do, everything awaits them, and the potential is enormous. So, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year, and look forward to what's going to be happening very, very quickly. So order today. Back to you, GW.
Tom Marsh, my phone's blown up. I mean, absolutely blown to smithereens.